What's up, all you Rugrats, and welcome to the podcast that is a bunch of 900s and extreme sports. My name is Mike, and my co-host to my right here is Jelly. Jelly, how you doing today?
The one and only Jelly. I'm doing great today, sir. Got a little bit going on behind me with the toddler, so if you hear some noises, it's just her being insane.
Yeah, our listeners are just gonna have to, deal. We are
They're
stay-at-home
gonna love it.
dads, so. All right, well, Jelly, I'm glad you're doing well. Really quickly, let's do some housekeeping. Well, patrons and those listening, we are all on Patreon, and our we are as cheap as possible. If you want to support us, you can do so at $1. $1, Jelly. Yeah.
Whoa!
Obviously, there are other tiers that you are able to support us at, but we just want to make supporting as accessible as possible. So there you go. But enough about the Patreon. We are on all socials at the 90s First, and we do have a Discord server as well, the 90s First podcast server, I think it's called. So please go ahead and join. The Discord link will be down in the description right below. Other than that, do you have any other housekeeping, Jelly?
Bro, we got a poll out right now for the next episode on which movie. So if everyone could go to Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is not up, but by the time you hear this, it should be up. Jurassic Park versus Small Soldiers. So vote which one you want to hear. Each one obviously has great things about it. Kirsten Dunst on screen. Whoa, childhood crush. Obviously. Come on now. It's one of the big things about the movie.
Okay.
Or dinosaurs. I mean, I'm not playing it up, but dinosaurs.
But dinosaurs. Speaking of other podcasts, we do have our 90s First Take as well, which we have two episodes on. And this week, unfortunately, we had some audio issues, so forgive us for the short episode. But we will have a complete full episode coming out next week, Tuesday. And there's some pretty cool guests going to be coming on the show here in the near future. So stay tuned for that. Go ahead and listen. All of our podcasts are in our podcast feed. If you would like the video versions, you just have to support us over on the Patreon. That is an exclusive. So, Jelly, you ready to get into this show today?
Bro, I think so.
Okay.
I'm ready to talk about Rocket Power.
Rocket Power. But first, good sir, you're 0-4. Rocket Power was my choice.
I didn't think we'd have to bring that up. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought we had to.
I am 0-4. I haven't won one yet, although fingers crossed on the next one, if people vote appropriately, I will be the winner.
Hopefully.
And what we should have done is I should have just chosen both movies. And then I would have won no matter what.
Yeah, so that's not fair. That's not fair. So
at least I like them both, so that's good.
Both of them are great
I've seen
movies.
both of them.
Well, Rocket Power you haven't seen, right? So let's just move straight into nostalgia lane happening here.
Well, I've seen it now, but I have no nostalgia for it.
I know you've seen it, but yeah, no nostalgia for it. You grew up a PBS kid, right?
I was. Dun, 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 dun. PBS kid. That was me.
So yeah, Jelly just didn't watch this growing up. Probably we'll talk about this, but probably kind of like changed. It gave you a little bit better of a look at the new episode, or of the first episode in 2020. For me, I grew up watching the show, so I was watching it with kind of nostalgia, rose tinted glasses.
Yes, I had a much less nostalgia bias on it.
No. But yeah, I grew up watching this show. Rocket Power was always one of my favorites. I would catch as much of it as possible, just simply for the fact that I grew up wanting to be like these kids. These kids were able to do every single extreme sport. They were amazing at all of them, and honestly, that's all I wanted to be doing.
Ignore that. That was just a little Tetris, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest, I just wanted to be doing every every single thing that these kids had the opportunity to do in Rocket Power, and unfortunately, a lot of those were in like summer stuff, like surfing, and I grew up in Illinois. We don't have any surf whatsoever to
You're
speak of.
a bit landlocked up
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So just not really able to do
Slightly.
that.
You could snow surf, also called snowboarding.
Oh yeah, sure. But these kids could do it all, man. They could snowboard, they could rollerblade, they could play all the sports. They were good at everything, and so as a kid growing up, you really wanted to be like these kids. And the extent that I got close to them, I really got good at scootering. Did you ever
All right.
did you ever
Little
do
razor action.
yeah, a little razor scooter action, dude?
Bro, razors were too expensive.
What?
So we had, yeah, they were way too expensive. Yo, when razor scooters came out, they were $100.
That yeah, that is kind of expensive.
$100. Yeah. So we definitely did not have any razor scooters. We had a knockoff one eventually. But I had already had a skateboard because my cousin was super into that, and my uncle made skateboard decks. So I had a free skateboard, which was awesome, and got the hardware from my cousin. So I was skateboarding and I was biking, and those were my
Wow.
extreme things that I did,
Wow.
quote unquote extreme.
Well, I mean, you a little bit more extreme than me. Honestly, I was just a scooter. I could not. I can't. I'm pretty sure I still can't balance on a skateboard. I'm just god awful at
Just
it.
practice. Just practice. You got it. I believe in you.
I mean, well, who knows? But yeah, Rocket Power was just always one of those shows that grew up loving the series, and watched it as often as I could. So, Jelly, let's talk about the first episode. Let's move right into all that chat. Unless you have anything else on Nostalgia Lane.
I mean, I watched shows as a kid with action sports and things, but not this one. So I got nothing on Rocket Power. But after watching the first episode, I was able to jump kind of back in time and remember those times when I was doing, what I thought were crazy, and looking at these kids, realizing that I was just absolutely mediocre compared to these guys.
Absolutely
Doing like
mediocre.
1080s and stuff. Good Lord. Yeah, I was nowhere near at the level that these kids are at in the show at the same
Right?
age, which I think is around
Yeah.
what 10 to 12 years old.
Yeah. I mean, these kids were young. They were 5th, 6th grade, right? And they were just doing 900s, McTwisties, and
Dude, all sorts of crazy things.
all
Draining
sorts of
pools.
all sorts of crazy things. Training pools.
We'll get there, everyone.
Yeah, we'll get there. So let's go ahead and move into all that chat where we dive deep into the first episode of Rocket Power.
How about that intro?
Right?
I know you want to talk about it. I want to talk about it for different reasons.
Yeah. So, let's first get the bumper out here. So basically, Rocket Power is 4 friends in their daily lives of playing extreme sports, surfing, and getting into some crazy situations here. Jelly, you're
One might say mischievous missions.
mischievous
some rapscallions
missions.
there.
So we got Joseph Ashton as Auto Rocket. We have Shayna Fox as Reggie Rocket. John Kaser as Ray Rocket. So that's the Rocket family.
Raymundo.
You have Twister Rodriguez, who's another person there, and then you got Sam Dullard, who we actually meet. Well, we meet all these characters for the first time in the first episode, but Sam Dullard is the new kid on the block. And then probably one of the other more prominent characters is Tito McConney, who is Ray Rocket's chef at his restaurant. And then you have, let's see here, let me pull up the full cast here. You have also none other than the Danks of the show, which would be Violet and Merv Stimpleton. So those are basically the main characters of this first episode in the series as a whole. Let's start off, Jelly. Nice
I like
notes.
those notes.
Let's start off, Jelly. For me,
We are
I,
riders on a mission.
for me, I certainly appreciate the opening song here as something that I grew up listening to all the time.
Yeah,
But
it didn't do it for me.
you have a hot take on it.
My hot take is it was garbage. Um, I was not a fan. I listened to it the one time and I rewatched the episode and absolutely skipped it. Uh, it, I don't know. I found it grating and annoying, and it got stuck in my head and not in a good way. And yeah, that's all I got to say on it. Just
Oh
not
man,
my cup of tea. I know there's going to be a lot of upset people hearing that.
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just a difference of opinion. In my
No,
opinion,
I
is
mean,
bad.
yeah.
And Mike holds your opinion. He likes it. It was great.
So I like it, for sure. Definitely like it. But at the end of the day, like, it's a product of its time. You know, like, I wouldn't bring this to.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
but
bring
its
this.
time also had things like Doug's intro and the Power Rangers intro
Well,
and like
no,
really solid good intros.
no, I understand that, but those intros, I mean, even Friends, even some of the intros for Boy Meets World, they're really good, but
Yeah,
and the Batman animated series, but those are like timeless. I think this one they played the '90s. This was a '90s rock intro, and
that's fair. That's fair.
it really just doesn't fit in our timeline anymore. It's just truly, a product of its time. Although I think
Absolutely has the 90s feel.
yeah, although I think it's a good opening intro, it's definitely something that it's got to stay in the '90s. Like it's just something that won't be ever be used again. That style. I mean, you have some of those styles on like some of the older like MTV shows, like all that, like not all that, all those types of
Not the
shows.
show all that.
No, no. But yeah, I mean it's really uh, I think it's a good one for this show. It served its purpose. But yeah, I wouldn't go listening to it on repeat.
If Nickelodeon does a remake, I encourage them to also remake the intro. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm with you on that too. I'm with you on that.
If they want to relaunch and give us the the 2020 or 2020, what if they ever do it, if they want to revamp it and give us a 2000s edition, uh, please just pick a different song. It could be 90s themed even, but just not that one.
Yeah. So Jelly, let's get into a little bit of the first episode.
New Squid on the Block.
New Squid on the Block. So Rocket Power, it was split up into two basically different stories, like a lot of the older TV shows back then.
Yeah, two-parter
Yeah,
episodes.
two-parter episodes. And so the first one was New Squid on the Block, and basically, to give you a little bit of a rundown, they kind of as a group of friends call the new kid the Squid. So at this time, Twister Rodriguez is the new kid. He is the Squid currently. But we have a new kid on the block, and his name is Sam Dollard. Jilly, this first interaction with Sam and his mom and some of the neighbors, can you run us down with some of that? It's pretty interesting.
Absolutely can. 100% would not happen today. So we are intro to Sam. Sam and his mom pull up in the moving van, and they're unloading things, and right away, Sam gets kidnapped by the neighbor. And I
Just
mean
straight
that
up kidnapped.
in every sense of the word. He gets kidnapped by the neighbor. Neighbor lady, who is what were they? The Dinks. What were the last names?
The
Violet and whatever.
Stimpleton.
But Violet,
Stimpleton.
yes, Violet Stimpleton walks over from next door. A woman who obviously craves, to have had kids but didn't. And steals this lady's child away from her and says, "Hey, taking your kid, gonna go introduce him to the town kids and give him a tour."
Mhm.
And then she literally steals this kid away from his mom, this 10-year-old child,
Yeah.
and and then takes him to her house, not immediately to the other kids, but that does happen. No,
Yep.
takes him to her house to meet her husband first, Merv, who's
Yeah.
a absolute crazy old man.
Hmm.
Lives up to the stereotype in every sense of that. But in that intro, we learn that Sam is a pretty nerdy kid and knows his stuff when it comes to technology. So
Yeah,
it was a
which is
great
really
intro
cool.
into who Sam is a little
Yeah.
bit. And then after this interaction with Merv and Andy, hey, he's kind of brainy, and we learn Violet then takes him over to the Rockets, and
Yeah.
we are introduced into this scenario of new kid meeting the group, the
Yeah.
core group of kids, and he's introduced to Reg, to Otto, and to Squid, aka Twister.
Yeah.
Um, and in this meeting, we kind of get this very blunt, this kid is not like us introduction into Sam Dollard. Sam,
Yeah.
who's in his own words, pale and pudgy and round.
I mean, which is a cool thing because like you enter in Sam and he's automatically a relatable character for probably a lot of people. A kid who is kind of into computers, kind of nerdy, which nerdy back then unfortunately was
Not as
I
cool.
mean not as cool. And
and
now
I mean 0 cool points.
yeah.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, and
not as cool.
but nowadays, like to be called a nerd, that's just fine.
You
But
say, yeah, okay, Silicon Valley, here I
yeah,
come.
but now in this show, you have Sam trying to fit in, trying to be with the Rockets and with Twister Rodriguez, trying to get into the crowd, and he uses his smarts and his technology wits to get in, and he's helping Reg
Absolutely, and it
Reg
works.
create a magazine, a zine.
The zine.
The
yeah.
zine. Oh man,
Reg,
I'm just
Reg
trying
has
to.
been working on her zine for
Yeah,
forever.
yeah. Reg has
And
been
can't
working
seem
on
to
her
get it
zine.
off the ground. And then on day one, when Sam walks in, by the end of that first parter, we've got a zine in hand, cover in hand, ready to go, which is, I mean, amazing.
Which is cool. I think it's a. I think it's a really good lesson, especially to learn today that just like groups of kids, which probably it's hard for them. I mean, just because of what culture is right now. But at the end of the day, you just got to be accepting of everybody, and really, you just got to be able to be open minded to be friends with anybody. I mean, like Sam is
Everyone has value.
yeah, Sam is
Just because
a
they don't offer the same sort of thing doesn't mean that they're worthless to your group.
yeah, exactly.
There's value in everything that some people do. You just gotta find it and find where it fits.
Yeah, Sam is a geek. He's a nerd. He loves computer stuff. He's extremely smart, but at the end of the day, they find out his strengths in the sports field, and they become instant friends, which is really cool. I think it's a good lesson to learn from this first episode that just be open minded to anybody who is the new squid on the block. So the episode moves on. We don't meet Ray Rocket until the second episode, the Down the Drain episode.
Well,
But
the second part of the first episode.
yeah, there we go. But in this first part of the first episode, we still have Sam trying to figure out his strengths, and he's not really good at skateboarding just yet. But the Rockets and Twister need a fourth player to compete in a hockey league, roller hockey league. So they're like, hey, we could try this kid out and see how he does.
And he doesn't do well at first because they put him in a position that he's not comfortable with. And once they finally let him play where he needs to be, which is not moving around because he's not super sure on his skates, he's not as good as they are moving about. But the dude's a brick wall.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, just
yeah.
impenetrable
Hmm.
to a puck.
Yeah, exactly. And they're, he's they find out his strengths, that he is a goalie. Stick him in the goal, and there's not going to be many pucks that get past him. Um,
No,
no, not
no.
at all.
He's like the dude's a brick wall. The
Yeah.
dude won't let anything through.
So yeah, you got this cool situation where he kind of gets ingratiated into the group pretty quickly, and becomes the goalie for their squad. I think it's funny they were facing Twister's older brother in a match,
Yeah.
and he's trying to get all the trying to basically win the game, because they're losing pretty hardcore. And so he's trying to come up with all the tricks in the book, like, oh, you lost
Oh
the
yeah.
puck, you lost
The
the puck.
Rocket Squad is smashing Twister's older brother
Yeah.
and the older team. The whole team's older,
Mm-hmm.
and they should be winning in their eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, on a technicality. Oh, you guys lose. You lost the puck. No, no, no. Whoa,
No,
whoa,
no.
whoa, whoa.
Whoa,
Not only
whoa.
do we have a way better goalie than you, but also he's got brains to back it up.
He's got
So he
brains.
uses those superior brains
Mm-hmm.
and smarts, and he gets the puck back,
Mm-hmm.
and then they win. I mean,
Bam.
I would drop my mic, but it's expensive, so I'm not going to do that. But metaphoric mic drop
Yes.
on Twister's
Mm-hmm.
brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta talk about we gotta talk about Twister in this first part of the first episode, because the whole episode he is pretty sour about being the squid,
Yeah.
and he takes it all out on Sam.
Oh,
He is absolutely a bully in the situation and not being kind. But what I thought was amazing was to see Reg first and then Otto step up and be like, "Yo, Twister, you need to chill on that. Like, whoa, you're not being nice. We're seeing it, we notice it, and we're calling you out on it."
yeah.
And I think that's one, awesome,
Mm-hmm.
and two, such a good freaking example for kids. If they see people being mean to each other, they should step up and say something and not just keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you see him being kind of a jerk to this kid,
Yeah. Why don't you do something about it?
he's your friend.
Yeah.
You have the authority in that you have a relationship with them already,
Mm-hmm.
Reg and Otto, towards Twister, to say something, to be impactful in the situation. And I think it's awesome that they did that.
Exactly.
And then by the end of this first parter, Twister realizes, hey, if this kid's in our group, I'm no longer the squid, he is. Oh wow, everything works out for the
Yeah.
best.
Uh-huh. And obviously, they still pick on each other, but you're totally right. Like, Twister was just so sour, so upset about still being the new kid on the block. But also that it seemed like Twister didn't really want Sam to become part of their group. And Sam just I think it was cool that just Sam just continually showed that he could be an integral part of the group, and
Mm-hmm.
he could show that he could be a good friend. But also, you have a couple of times where Sam throws some jabs back at Twister too. It's not.
Oh, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's so good.
Mhm.
And good for, I mean, because we grew up in that era. It's different, a little bit different for kids now, but
Mhm.
I think it's different in a worse way now that
Yeah.
kids don't rib each other. They're not, picking on each other as long as it's in good fun is fine. Like, you know, tearing the Mickey out of someone is not great, but
Yeah.
to playfully jab back and forth, to spar with words, with your friends, I think is super important. I think if you're not doing that, then your relationship will grow stagnant and just peter off.
Mhm.
If you're not able to do those things to hold each other accountable and stuff like that, if you're not able to, word spar with one another and tease,
Yeah.
but in a fun and loving way, then you're missing out on something integral in a relationship. And I think that works across the board, friends, wives, spouses, whatever you want to call it. I think you should be able to do that to a certain although or albeit small,
Yeah.
percent.
But
And I
but
think they
if you're
do it right in
listening,
this episode.
if you're listening to this podcast and you are indeed a husband, just don't say it.
Don't take that advice.
What?
Just know the line. Know the line and toe the line, and then when you
Some
step over it, you'll be informed
you heard it. You heard it here
abruptly.
first at the '90s first. Do not say it, husbands. Sometimes what you're thinking, do not say it.
Don't say everything you're thinking. Obviously, that's a bad idea. But
Oh man.
is if it's in good fun, and if you know that it's not over that line, you're allowed to
Yeah.
be fun and teasing and playful with your wife
All right, let's move on.
/ significant other.
Yes,
SO.
let's move on. Let's get back into Raga Power. So, we get into the second part of the first episode.
Yep.
Down the
Pool
drain,
party.
right? Down the drain. Now, this episode, Reg is given the responsibility by the Stimpletons to house sit and take care of their pool, take care of their dog or whatever, just take care of their house. And Reg here, she totally fakes this out, right? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna be super serious about this.
Yo, she is the picture of responsibility
I know.
to the dinks, to the Stimpletons.
Exactly. until the Stimpletons actually leave, she
Right when they drive away,
yeah.
when she hears the car's exhaust peter off in the distance.
But let's really quickly. This is where we see the true colors of Merv Stimpleton. Merv is a very interesting character, and kind of hearkening back to our conversation that we just had, Merv gives you the prime example, husbands, of how not to treat your wife.
Yeah, he goes over the line. All in one episode, you get to see the appropriate amount of teasing between friends, and you get to see the inappropriate relationship communication, we'll put
Yes.
it, between a husband and wife.
And if you want one more advice, husbands, do not say the phrase "keep your shirt on, woman" to your wife when you're trying to get something done, and she's asking you to be done. More often
She
than
may
not,
be a bit naggy. Still don't say it.
yeah, just don't
do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's a trap. Admiral Akbar said so.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
But yeah, we kind of see. What's really funny is that the episode, Merv is supposed to be going on a small weekend getaway with Violet Stimpleton, and he's supposed to be going to anger management classes on this little mini vacation, and we see that he definitely needs those
Absolutely.
classes.
This man's gonna have a massive MI if he doesn't get some help like real quick. MI,
which
for
is
all of you wondering, is a myocardial infarction, aka a heart attack.
infarction.
Myocardial infarction, yes,
Infarction.
with a ARC, not ART.
Okay.
Your heart does not fart.
Jilly, I want to get your take on this. Like, obviously it's the '90s, it's a different TV show, but like, I feel like you don't see these types of characters in shows nowadays. At least too hot-headed, especially in kids' TV. Do you really think his hot-headedness had a place in the show, or should it have been in the show?
Yeah, I think it's accurate. I think it's real. I think the '90s was really good at that. '90s TV in general, both animated kid shows and the live action, the dramas and stuff like that. I think they did a really good job of kind of showcasing what real life looked like, as opposed to I think most shows nowadays show a utopian style, what we wish life was like. I think that's a disservice to people watching. I really dislike, especially kids shows nowadays, the newer ones that I've seen. Having two kids of my own, I just let them watch the classics because they're way better,
Hmm.
better understanding of reality and how the world is. There are people like that,
I hear
straight
you.
up.
Hmm.
There are many people like that. In my life growing up, there were people like that. There were people like that in my family. I mean, my parents, side note, argued. So I got a firsthand look at those things, and the way that you shouldn't talk to women and significant others and spouses and stuff like. I mean, it was real. I think it should have been there. I think it was appropriate to put there, even though today I don't think it would be put into a show like that.
Yeah.
I think
Hmm.
that a lot of shows would gloss over that or completely, hide it and just pretend like things like this don't happen, even though they absolutely do. It's absolutely real.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I don't. I think it's more of a disservice to leave those things out than it is to pretend they don't exist
Yeah.
and include them, put them in there. It's real.
Yeah. I
Kids see it.
personally, I when I rewatched this episode, saw the first episode for the second time again here, I definitely remembered this episode, and I remembered everything in it. At least not every single detail, but I remember the story, and obviously, like, it just took me by surprise that this character was kind of in this show. And even in the 90s, I know it's a different time period and everything, but and the shows were a lot different back then. But at the end of the day, this is this is something that is a risk to put into your TV show, even if it is geared towards younger kids. And so I just thought it was a little bit interesting that it was in this episode. It's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah.
it was a risk. My guess is a calculated one, though. I don't
Hmm.
think it was a risk that they took, not thinking through it at all. I think
Yeah.
they probably weighed the pros and cons on it and decided, hey, kids, especially around this age, notice a lot. They pick up kind of
Hmm.
everything, and it's important that we showcase what's real. And I applaud them for it. Obviously, I mean, I'm talking it up crazy, so I think it's good they put in.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it was absolutely a risk. I think it could have not worked out,
Hmm.
especially with kind of the level uh, of his extremism. But a risk worth
Yeah.
it, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Hmm. So moving on with the episode, they end up draining the pool entirely to, of course, create a skateboarder's dream, empty pool where they can, do
Yo,
some
empty pool with
do some
perfect
ollies and
transitions.
stuff, you know.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, where they can skate transition,
Where they can kick flip and they could
do fast
ride.
stiffies,
Yeah, they could
some Christ
ride
airs, some
some
bonuses.
Christ airs.
What?
Jeez.
That's a thing, dude.
I
What?
know. I
Come
played
on
Tony
now.
Hawk, bro. Come on. Um. Anyway, just like they, and they run into the situation where every single TV show that depicts kids trying to do something that they're not supposed to be doing, they accidentally drain all the water into the basement of the Rockets' house.
Now, to be fair, they were never told
Yikes.
not to drain the pool into the house.
It wasn't
Kid
me,
logic, bro.
Dad.
Yeah, they
I hear
accidentally
you.
flooded their own basement.
Which is kind of funny. And
And
then
also worked out for the best in the end.
yeah, I mean, not for Ray, not for Ray Rocket.
Not so much for Ray, but had they not emptied it into the basement, then they would not have been able to refill the pool. And then they would have been straight out of luck.
Yeah, I guess that is true. But yeah, I mean it's just these kids are looking for opportunities to skate, to just be themselves, to do their extreme sports, and they take full advantage of a dry pool. They do all the tricks.
That is accurate. They enjoy themselves until they hear Mr. Rocket kind of come home, and then it's the freak out time. Then it's that typical, oh my god, I messed up feeling that kids get.
Yep.
And we've all been there.
Oh
We've all
yeah.
had
If
that
you
pit of dread in our stomach
yeah.
going, oh god, I'm screwed. Thankfully they have a Sam Dullard.
So Sam kind of saves the day. He reverses the suction, gets the water back into the pool. But I mean, this is just the classic, like, oh no, Dad's home. We gotta scramble to try to fix the issue. And to be honest, I have a 3-year-old, and I run into this like on a daily basis. Just like when my son is in a completely different room than I am, and he hears me walking, and he runs to try to stop me from going where I am, and he gives me this smile. He's like, "Hello, I didn't do anything."
Don't come in here, Dad.
Yeah, don't come in here, not at all.
Don't see that I've literally taken every single toy that we own and put it onto the floor.
Yes,
that you just
exactly.
cleaned 20 minutes ago.
It's just pretty interesting. Like a lot of times when you watch some of these shows, you get a sense of just like the things that are to come as a father, but also just a reminder as to how bad we could have been as children to our kids, like the things that my parents don't know about. It's I mean, it's a list.
I never did anything wrong.
No.
That is a lie. Yeah, it's I'm glad that I didn't get caught for every wrongdoing that I did.
Right.
That's for sure.
That is for sure.
These kids don't get caught at first. To be fair,
I mean, but they didn't get caught at all. I mean, it was Ray Rocket who was caught, according to the episode.
Ray was caught, but that come episode 2, those kids are gonna be getting off of being grounded or something. Like,
no, this is a serial TV show. Episode 2, they're back doing extreme sports without any adult supervision. Come on, this isn't. This is episodic.
They need some reprimanding after that one, though. So, as a parent, as a father of 2, with at least one kid almost the age of these little rascals here, you best believe that my son would get a talking to for draining the neighbor's pool. And then for sucking up all of our belongings in the basement and transplanting them into the neighbor's pool, getting them soaking wet and destroying my basement. They're going to hear about it, and
they are going to hear about it.
Lose their skateboard and their roller skates and their whatever else I could take away from them for a little bit.
Dad.
Yeah, that line doesn't work on me.
Yeah. So, this show, that's basically it, to be honest. There's not much more to talk about Rocket Power. I mean, this show is really just it hits nostalgia right in the feels. It certainly gets you to the point where you realize that as a kid you wanted to be one of these kids, and life is too short not to be spending quality time doing the things that you love to do, and that's really what these kids were doing. So
they took
you have any final thoughts on Rocket Power? Maybe give us your rating of this first episode.
So Rocket Power, with no nostalgia and no feels getting hit from feelings of when I was a young lad, it was good. Honestly, it was good. It was watchable. It was enjoyable even. I was a little bummed that, again, my pick lost and you guys didn't choose Street Sharks, because come on, Street Sharks. But Rocket Power is good. I would skip the intro every time, sticking to that. But it seems like the characters are good. They're fleshed out well. I would love to get more of Tito. Was Ray's buddy Tito, right?
Yep. Yeah, you definitely get more of him later on in the series, if I remember correctly.
I think he'd be a pretty. My guess is he's an like an uncle figure
Yeah.
Like that fun uncle who
Mm-hmm.
gives you the life lessons the right way kind of thing.
Yep. Yep.
When dad gets mad, he delivers the message in a good way. I feel like he's that character, and I think I'd like to see more of him. The kids are cool. You get
Yep.
Otto, Reg, Twister, and Sam getting up to their hijinks. For kids, I'm sure they'll find it super entertaining. I'll probably let my son watch this one,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where I'll rate it. Is I would let my son watch it 5 times out of 5. Because it's enjoyable, and I think there's stuff in here that he
Yeah.
can learn that he can't learn in today's,
Yep. So how was
awesome
this
cartoons.
first episode to you out of 5?
Out of 5, I'd give it 5 McTwists out of 5.
5 McTwists out of 5. Wow.
Yo, cut that intro though. Cut that intro. Everything else about it was great. Everything else about it I really enjoyed. The only thing holding it back is an intro. Maybe a 4.8 out of 5.
Okay. I you know what? I'm gonna knock it down to a 4 for me, even though it hits my nostalgia.
Whoa.
Yeah. I just think as you said, some of the things are dated. And just rewatching it now, if I'm critically speaking, I'm gonna do 4 cowabungas out of 5.
Cowabunga!
I mean, because they probably said that on the show one of these times. But
I have no idea.
maybe I'll do I'll do 4 squids out of 5 squids. We'll do that. 4 out of 5 squids. So that is the first episode of Rocket Power. There's not many places to watch this, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to subscribe to Nick Hits, like either on the Roku channel or Amazon, or
Yep.
or you have to buy it off Amazon as well. So a little
If you do
tough.
subscribe to Nick Hits, you get all of the Nick Hits though, which
Yeah.
are great,
Mhm.
including, but they're on Netflix now. But before they were on Netflix, Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra were only available on that, which
Yeah.
was a
Mm-hmm.
real bummer.
Exactly. So, Jelly, let's transition into what you have been doing.
Dude, I'm gonna rocket power this one through. I've been doing the same thing that I always do, podcasting with you, dude. I've been playing video games, and I've been parenting and working, and it's been great. Life's been pretty good lately. I'm in California, and I'm safe. There's no fires near me, so I'm good. Better than a lot of people are doing, and I got no room to complain.
All right. Well, for me, I have been playing Apex as well. Season 6 has been pretty fun so far.
Super fun.
I have my gripes about it, but we can chat about that on the video game podcast if we want.
Heck yeah! First take, let's do it.
But other than that, I've been continuing my read of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. So trying to finish that series. I know, Jelly, just be quiet about it already.
All I have to say is that it is so good.
Half-Blood Prince is okay. It's not in the upper echelon of the series so far, in my opinion.
How far are you?
About halfway. So
You'll get there.
okay. All right, sounds good. But yeah, I've been doing that. Still continuing my playthrough of Control whenever I get the chance, but Apex kind of took care of that a little bit. I'm getting really excited for the Tony Hawk remaster of 1 and 2, so really excited for that to come around
Friday,
the corner.
Right?
September 4th. Yeah,
Yo,
thoroughly
coming
excited.
up real quick.
Yep, thoroughly excited about that. And I've been streaming a little bit more over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/stayathomegamer. If you want to go check it out, it's a chill stream, family friendly. Love
yes.
hanging with you. Love hanging out with you. So, a couple more plugs before we get out here. The 90s First Take. Please go take a listen to episode 1 and 2. Just some really cool debates and just a cool premise. I'm really excited about that show. And then also finally, we will be starting our book club here soon for the Patreon. So I am going to get some socials out after you listening to this, probably on Saturday night or Sunday, to just kind of talk about details which book, as well as how you can join and everything. So just
Should we
continue.
give them a hint right here? They heard it here first.
They heard it here first. We will our book club will be probably on The Martian, and we'll be chatting about it. Yeah, what's going to happen is we're probably going to record it in a podcast form and then put that on our Patreon for those who were not able to join that night's discussion. So we'll record it as a podcast and have an MP3 feed for that right on the Patreon. So even if you do subscribe to the Patreon and want to be a part of the book club and you have to miss out on the actual discussion with all of us in the Discord, you will be able to listen to some of our thoughts as we record them. So, Jelly, anything else before we head out?
Bro, just that I'm super excited for the book club. I'm a huge reader. From quick life story, I'm going to do fast because I know we both got to get out of here. But I didn't read well until third grade. Like way below standard until third grade. And in third grade, my teacher, Mrs. Gilchrist, I will never forget her. She will forever be remembered by me and put in a place of honor. This lady worked every day at lunch with me to get me to enjoy reading and to be a proficient reader. Every day. She would bring me in.
Amazing teacher.
She is amazing. And like I said, I will never forget her. Ms. Gilchrist is one of my heroes, bro. She turned me on to reading, and reading was like my savior from that moment on. For any time that life got hard for me, I could literally escape into a book. I would immerse myself fully. I mean, unreachable to where my parents would have to come up and shake me and move me around to get me to snap out of it. So I'm so excited to be able to do a book club, especially on The Martian, Andy Weir's The Martian, which is super descriptive. It's going to be amazing. I haven't read through it yet, so it's going to be a first read through for me. But I've seen the movie and I've heard a bunch about the book, and I understand that it's really immersive in the science of it. So I just can't wait.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited as well. So I'm not a huge reader, so this book club is certainly going to stretch me. And so that's why I'm extremely excited about it. To just not necessarily, I mean, yeah, I'll say it. Broaden my knowledge and my ability to speak on certain topics and certain books that are pretty popular. So I'm really excited about the book club, and
it's a good exercise really want for your brain.
Yeah, exactly. I really want a lot of you to join. Just one final quick plug: you can join for just $1. Just $1. Yeah. You get access to this book club and the ability to join and chat with us about the book on a periodic timeline. So, Jelly, that's all I got.
More information about all that stuff later. Yeah. For now.
We're done. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, follow us at the 90s First on Instagram and Twitter. And we will see you guys later. Love y'all. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.